Listen with your whole body. There is a quiet epidemic moving beneath the surface, like a river no one sees but everyone feels. You maybe have felt it too. That ache, that low humming tension, like the strings of an instrument tuned just a little too tight. Why is it that so many, even after years of searching, feel vibrationally stuck? Why does the promise of positive thinking often land as an empty echo, even as we stand beneath the open sky or sit in silent meditation? The heart longs to belong, to rest, to pulse in tune with the ancient codes of this earth. Yet so often, there's a gap, a silence, a feeling of being just out of sync, as if the world and the self are two overlapping images, never quite aligning. It's not your fault. It's not because you're broken or lacking or not spiritual enough. This illusion of separation, this split between you and Gaia, between self and world, has been stitched into our nervous systems by 1,000 invisible hands. Generations of stories, fears, unspoken rules, all of them quietly teaching us to see the world as something outside of us, as if the earth's wisdom is a song we must earn, not a birthright we already carry. Neville Goddard called it the trap of mental imagery, the way we create distance by picturing, rather than embodying. We dream of wholeness, but our bodies so often have not been invited in. There is a cost to this forgetting. It is subtle, but it's everywhere. Anxiety that simmers beneath our ribs, modern lives that swirl with urgency and hurry, always reaching for transcendence, yet feeling more ungrounded, more fragmented. The paradox is almost cruel. In chasing the light, we lose the ground beneath our feet. Spirituality becomes an escape, rather than a homecoming. Our search for answers becomes another way to run from what aches inside us. But quantum fields aren't some mystery out there. The quantum lives within you, in the soft electric shimmer of your nervous system, in the wild coherence possible between your brain, your heart, and the living field of the earth. Joe Dispenza calls this the true activation code, not a secret, not a technique, but a remembering. Most have ignored it, not out of ignorance, but out of a deeper, collective forgetting. We try to manifest, to attract, to create, but Neville whispers between his lines. You cannot manifest what you reject within. There are parts of you, shadowed, tender, uncertain, that have been waiting for permission to return home to themselves, to the earth, to the quiet place where belonging is not a performance, but a remembering. So, pause. Let your breath come slower. Place your hand over your chest, if it feels right, and notice what within you aches for a sense of safety, of resonance, of being truly gently held by the world. Whisper it to yourself, like a secret your soul has always known. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about allowing the roots you already have to deepen, to find water, to remember the language of the soil. If what you seek is real vibrational ascension, not a fantasy, not a chase, but a grounded transformation, then stay. Let yourself stay, the way roots stay even in storm and darkness. You are not alone in this longing. Subscribe, breathe, and if your heart feels moved, share your story below. Your words might become the bridge someone else needs. For now, let's walk together. There is more to see, just beneath the surface, where the earth codes begin to hum. As we follow the current down to the roots, notice where your own frequency may be resisting presence. In the next step, we begin to unveil how this resistance, the frequency trap, shapes your aura and what you attract. Somewhere inside, there is a pulse, a silent wish to move quickly from pain to peace, from confusion to clarity. It flickers behind your ribs, an urge to finally arrive. Yet, in this rush, something unseen coils tight within you. The longing for instant transformation often conceals a deeper resistance to stillness, to patience, to the slow work of becoming. You may recognize this tension. It is the whisper that says, if I could just fix this, I would be whole. Yet, the more we chase, the further away wholeness seems to drift, like light dissolving at the edge of a dream. Our culture tells us movement is everything. We are taught to fear stagnation, as if it were death itself. But the earth knows better. Gaia moves in cycles, unrushed, eternal, indifferent to deadlines. Trees do not measure their worth by the speed of their blooming. Rivers do not mourn the seasons when they freeze. Stillness is not the enemy of growth. It is the ground that holds all possibility. When we fear stillness, our aura reflects this anxiety. Instead of drawing in what we long for, we repel it, broadcasting a signal of restlessness, of unmet hunger, of a heart that hasn't learned to wait. Within the body, this urgency has its cost. The mind races, the breath shortens, cortisol pulses through the bloodstream, intuition fades beneath the static of expectation. The nervous system, designed for connection and coherence, slips into survival mode. There is a subtle ache in the bones, a background static in the chest, a sense that life is happening just beyond our reach. This is not a personal failure. It is a collective wound, a legacy of forgetting how to trust the wisdom of slowness. Imagine someone who meditates every day, who repeats affirmations and envisions light, who follows every rule of spiritual living. Yet, beneath the surface, a hollow ache remains. Their energy hovers at the edges, never sinking into the marrow, never anchoring into the body. The transformation stays theoretical, out of reach, always waiting for one more insight, one more breakthrough. The aura, fed by thought but starved of embodiment, becomes a barrier rather than a bridge. Where do you feel this in your own story? Where does your longing for change trip over itself, tangled in the fear of slowing down? Notice, with gentle attention, the way your body holds both the ache for more and the wisdom of waiting. As the quiet grows inside you, sense the next question unfolding. If urgency is the static that confuses our signal, what if there is a deeper science, an unseen technology within your own body, that is waiting to bring you back into resonance with the earth? In the next breath, we discover how your nervous system is not just a bundle of nerves, but a living antenna, tuned to Gaia's rhythm. Let yourself imagine this. Beneath your skin, beneath 1,000 daily distractions, your body listens to the earth. There is a frequency, low, steady, ancient, called the Schumann resonance. It pulses through the ground, through the roots of trees, through the waters that once shaped continents. This is Gaia's heartbeat, and when you allow yourself to slow down, even for a moment, your own brainwaves can begin to mirror this primal song. Alpha rhythms rise, thoughts soften, and for a brief spell, you find yourself closer to the quiet intelligence of nature than to the noise of the world. But what happens when this natural bond is disrupted? In modern life, it happens more often than we realize. The constant hum of screens, the electric blue of late-night devices, the relentless pressure of urban life, all these things pull us away from the Earth's frequencies. The body adapts, but not always for the better. The vagus nerve, messenger between gut and heart and mind, grows tense, uncertain, out of tune. Spiritual fatigue sets in, a heaviness behind the eyes, a sense of being drained, even as you try to fill yourself up with practices or positive thoughts. Greg Braden, weaving together the wisdom of the ancients and the findings of modern science, speaks of grounding not as a quaint ritual, but as a biophysical necessity. The earth is not separate from you. Your body is a living antenna, built to receive and transmit, to sense and to harmonize. When you return to the soil, even for a short time, the nervous system begins to recalibrate. Something inside unwinds, exhales, returns to a forgotten home. If you were to stand barefoot on cool ground, no agenda, no hurry, what would shift inside you? What old stories would rise to the surface, asking to be heard? There is a subtle magic here, a chance to notice not only what soothes you, but also what you have been avoiding in your own depths. In this gentle return, the earth becomes both mirror and medicine. Pause with this sensation, the quiet, the pulse, the invitation to remember what it feels like to truly belong in your own skin. And then ask, if your nervous system is the bridge, what happens when the mind tries to cross that bridge too quickly, fueled by the desire to manifest or get somewhere? As we turn to the next unfolding, we explore how the very act of seeking can sometimes create the very distance we wish to dissolve. Close your eyes for a moment and picture what you desire most. See it, hold it, breathe it in. This is the invitation we receive so often. Visualize, focus, manifest. Yet, in the quiet shadows of this practice, a hidden paradox waits. The very act of obsessive visualization, the constant repetition of imagined outcomes, can deepen the sense of separation rather than dissolve it. Neville Goddard spoke of living in the end, but he did not mean endlessly conjuring images of a distant future. He pointed to something more embodied, less about seeing and more about being. The mind, hungry for certainty, creates loops of wanting. Each time we visualize with longing, we reinforce the story that what we seek is still absent, still not ours. The body feels this gap. A subtle anxiety rises in the chest, a feeling of waiting, of reaching, of being suspended in a space where fulfillment is always just out of reach. The dopamine surge of anticipation gives way to a quiet emptiness, like a feast you cannot taste. We manifest more waiting, more seeking, more distance. Perhaps you know someone who spends hours on affirmations and vision boards, yet walks through life with shoulders tense and breath shallow. The body, still humming with uncertainty, does not recognize abundance in the mind's theater. The nervous system is not easily fooled. It wants presence, not performance. It seeks coherence, not fantasy. When our thoughts leap ahead but our bodies are left behind, we become split, vibrating between worlds, never truly arriving in either. Allow yourself to notice this split, not with judgment, but with a kind of gentle curiosity. Feel the difference between thinking of peace and resting in it, between imagining love and actually feeling it ripple through your muscles and bones. As you breathe, sense where your mind chases and where your body waits to be included. Now, with this awareness, a doorway opens. If longing and fantasy can trap us, what are the practices, rooted, real, woven into daily life, that invite true alignment between mind, body, and earth? In the next moment, we begin to explore the subtle rituals that call your nervous system home, turning daily acts into portals of coherence and connection. There is a gentle wisdom hidden in the ordinary, not in grand ceremonies or showy routines, but in the smallest moments: morning air, quiet footsteps, the first light brushing across your skin. Here, the body remembers how to return, how to synchronize with something vast and ancient. These are not rituals for display, not performances to impress or prove, but invitations for your nervous system to recalibrate, to find its way back to center. Imagine, just for a heartbeat, waking before sunrise. Your breath slows as the world is still blue and silent. You sit with yourself, letting each inhale match the slow brightening of the sky. This is not about control or achievement. It is a kind of tuning, a daily adjustment to the frequencies that govern all life. With every breath, your circadian rhythm aligns more closely to the pulse of Earth, opening a gateway to quantum coherence. In these early moments, you are not separate from nature. You are a part of its unfolding. And then, there is the touch of earth beneath your feet, the roughness of soil, the coolness of dew, the steady patience of stones. When your skin meets the ground, something primal stirs. The nervous system, so often battered by noise and urgency, softens. The cells listen, and a kind of music plays in your blood. Gardening, walking slowly among trees, letting yourself bathe in the green hush of a forest. These are not hobbies. They are spiritual technologies, old as time, restoring the bridge between body and world. Consider the story of a person worn thin by exhaustion and worry. 10 days, nothing more, spent rising with the sun, stepping onto earth, greeting the day in silence. No grand breakthroughs, only a gentle unfolding. Sleep returns, dreams come back. A faint joy stirs beneath the ribs. The body remembers how to heal when the mind finally steps aside. Let your senses linger here. Feel the rhythm in your breath, the warmth in your hands, the subtle electricity humming just beneath your skin. These are the true earth codes. Simple, repeatable, real. Every day offers another chance to return. And yet, even in this simplicity, there is a deeper lesson still hidden. Why does the seed not rush, not force, but simply surrender to darkness, trusting that what it needs will come? As you pause here, allow yourself to wonder, what would it mean to surrender, truly, to Gaia's pace? In the next turning, the metaphor of the seed invites us into the mystery of growth without striving. Imagine a seed resting in the quiet dark of the earth. It does not rush. It does not strain to become the tree before its time. There is a surrender here, a trust in the rhythm of moisture and darkness, warmth and gravity. The seed is not passive but deeply alive, receptive to the invisible intelligence that guides all growth. It trusts the soil. It trusts the timing. It trusts that what is needed will arrive, even if it cannot see the sun yet. How often do we try to force our own becoming? How often do we mistake pushing for progress, urgency for evolution? In the secret language of the body, every muscle, every breath, every heartbeat whispers the same wisdom. When you push, you constrict. When you soften, you expand. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is opening to the quantum field, letting go of the illusion that you alone must orchestrate the unfolding of your life. In this space, transformation happens not through willpower, but through deep allowing. There is courage in this kind of trust, to let go of control, to stop measuring yourself against invisible clocks, to rest in darkness when that is what the moment asks. The seed knows there is a time to break open, a time to reach for light, a time to grow roots first. What if your own transformation could honor this pace? What would it look like to trust the soil beneath your feet, the field that holds you, the unseen forces at work in your favor? Pause, just for a breath, and sense where in your own life you are still forcing, still gripping, still afraid to wait, still afraid to. Where might you allow yourself to be held, to trust, to grow quietly in the dark until it is truly time to rise? As this image lingers in your awareness, notice another tension rising, a shadow that follows even the most beautiful rituals. Sometimes the act of surrender is blocked not by fear, but by the invisible pull to perform, to appear spiritual, to compete and compare. In the next step, we look gently at the unseen saboteur, the mask of performative spirituality, and the way it keeps us from true coherence. There is a delicate shadow that slips in when we least expect it, the urge to be seen as spiritual, to keep up with rituals and routines, not for nourishment, but to avoid discomfort, or to fit into an idea of who we think we should be. It is easy to mistake the performance for the path. Easy to trade the quiet work of inner listening for the mask of coherence, to follow a script of awakening while something inside us remains tense, guarded, quietly aching for honesty. Sometimes the most spiritual moments are the ones where nothing is shared, nothing is posted, nothing is achieved. Sometimes it is the moment when you abandon the need to perform entirely and simply sit with the rawness that surfaces in that empty space. Yet, in a world that prizes appearances and reward, it is tempting to collect practices, to accumulate spiritual achievements, to compare and compete in silence. Underneath, the nervous system still waits, still pulses in survival mode, longing for a more authentic coherence. There is a vulnerability here, one that asks us to touch what is real, even if it is uncomfortable. The true journey is not about doing more, but sometimes about letting go, about allowing a practice to fall away, about meeting the discomfort that emerges when you are no longer distracted by the busyness of self-improvement. In the stillness that remains, you meet yourself again. You touch the original longing that brought you to the path, the ache for genuine belonging, for safety, for resonance with something vast and true. Notice how your body responds to the idea of letting go. Does it tense? Does it relax? Does it want to run or rest? This noticing is the threshold, the doorway to deeper self-connection. The auric mask begins to fall away, and you remember the sensation of being alive not for anyone's gaze, but for your own becoming. And as the silence deepens, another possibility emerges. If you could shift your state with a single breath, a single gaze, a simple sound, what could change in your field? In the next unfolding, we discover the quiet power of microactions, tiny, daily neurohacks that open the gate to true vibrational ascension. There is an ancient simplicity to true transformation, a rhythm that echoes in the most ordinary acts, so gentle we often overlook it. Not every key needs to be complex or grand. Sometimes the quantum gate opens with a breath. A real breath, slow and deliberate, that gathers the scattered fragments of attention and brings them home to the body. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and the world begins to shift from the inside out. The electromagnetic field of your heart softens and expands. The nervous system releases its grip and coherence. A delicate harmony between mind, body, and earth begins to settle in. or imagine the quiet intimacy of standing before an old tree. Direct eye contact with the living world, not as an object to admire, but as a presence to commune with. For a moment, the boundaries between you and the tree blur. You are reminded that you too are rooted, that your breath and the tree's breath are part of the same unbroken cycle. Even the soft act of humming, feeling the vibration stir in your throat and chest, wakes the vagus nerve, inviting the body to trust, to rest, to receive. This is the science of the subtle. Neurocardiology has begun to uncover what mystics have always known. The smallest acts, when done with presence, change the electromagnetic reality of the heart. They tune the field that both listens and broadcasts, shaping the very possibilities that unfold around you. There is no need to wait for some distant breakthrough. In the tiny moments, the micro-actions, the quiet earth hacks, something fundamental begins to realign. Consider someone in the midst of midlife confusion, the dreams that seem to dry up, the creativity that vanished. Through weeks of returning to these small, earth-connected practices, something softens, the mind grows clear, creativity stirs like a breeze through open windows, not because of striving, but because of surrender and receptivity. No grand manifesting, no chasing, just the simple daily act of being with the earth and one's own heartbeat. Stay with this quiet power a moment longer. Let it settle in your breath, your chest, your bones. These are the quantum gates, hidden in plain sight, waiting for your return. And so, as the field settles around you, feel the last ripple of this journey, a deeper remembering that it is not only the mind or intention, but the very field you cultivate that transforms you. In the final passage, we bring together belief, biology, and the living soil of transformation. There is a quiet revolution unfolding, not on distant mountaintops, but in the ground beneath your feet, in the silent language of your cells, in the field you tend each day with thought, feeling, and presence. Dr. Bruce Lipton's revelation sings here, your beliefs and your environment are not passive. They are creative forces, tuning your biology, reshaping the very dance of your genes. Your genes are listening to the field you cultivate. Every heartbeat, every thought, every small ritual becomes a seed planted in the soil of possibility. Vibrational ascension, then, is not about escaping this world. It is not about soaring above pain or bypassing what aches. True ascension is intimacy. It is the radical willingness to touch what is real, the dense body, the tangled emotion, the living earth. The quantum field responds not to fantasy, but to the way you meet what is. Transformation grows in the soil of attention, not hurry. The more you slow down, the more the miracle of coherence reveals itself in the ordinary. Joe Dispenza reminds us that energy is the currency of reality. It is not how much you have, but how you spend it, especially in those micro moments, those thresholds between distraction and presence, reactivity and curiosity, fear and trust. Every small choice to breathe, to ground, to notice, shapes the field around you and within you. As this journey finds its pause, notice what is still echoing in your body, perhaps a sense of quiet, or a question blooming gently inside. If something here stirred your roots, if your sky feels just a shade wider, you are not alone. There is a space here, a field of grounded transformation, waiting for your story, your resonance, your presence. You belong to the earth. You belong to the unfolding. So let this be your inheritance, your quiet legacy. You did not just listen. You remembered. This isn't something to learn. It's something to carry into the next moment, into the living field you are always creating, breath by breath. And as you turn back to the world, ask yourself softly, what earth code are you ready to unlock today?